After 12 years, this young lady decided to reunite with the gorillas she grew up with before they were released back into the wilderness. She was unsure if they would still recognize her, but what the gorillas did next was truly unexpected. Tansy Aspinall and her father, Damian, were on a journey to reunite with gorillas that had once found refuge at their family-owned Howletts Wild Animal Park. Tansy couldn't shake the mixed emotions swirling within her. It had been 12 years since she was separated from these majestic creatures after they were reintroduced into the wild, their natural habitat, and now she would finally see them again. The boat they were traveling in anchored, and the sound of the jungle enveloped them. Damian, with his extensive experience as an animal enthusiast and conservationist, took the lead. Tansy followed behind, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and a touch of nerves. In her core, she yearned for the bond she had established with two special gorillas, Jalta and Bims, when she was a mere 18 months old. She wondered if they would recognize her after all this time. 12 years had passed, and she had changed significantly in appearance. Moreover, the unpredictable nature of gorillas added an element of uncertainty. Would they still share the bond they once had, or had the harsh life in the jungle altered their perception of humans? Stepping ashore with packed bags, Tansy and her father navigated through the dense foliage, eyes peeled for any sign of the gorillas. Damian's experience in finding gorillas in their territory quickly guided them to the right direction. A little farther, and there they were. The gorillas, now grown and thriving on their own. Initially defensive, the gorillas made warning sounds, but two of them caught Tansy's attention. Locking eyes with them, she felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. As the gorillas casually walked towards her, Tansy wondered if it was a threat or a recognition. She knew who they were, but did they know who she was? Did they remember all the years they'd spent as best friends? Tansy recalled the days when her father had rescued these gorillas from a vulnerable state, too weak to survive in the wild. Damian had dedicated himself to their well-being in Howletts Wild Animal Park, patiently waiting for the day when they could return to their natural habitat. It was a journey of rehabilitation, both for the gorillas and for the humans caring for them. The flashback took Tansy to the challenges her father faced in convincing others of the goodness within these wild creatures. Gorillas, being unpredictable and sometimes dangerous, had a reputation of harming humans. Yet Damian saw beyond the surface, recognizing the trauma they had endured from poachers in the wild. He knew that with patience and understanding, these majestic animals could learn to trust again. In the early days at Howletts, there were moments of tension. Gorillas, unfamiliar with their surroundings and haunted by past experiences, reacted defensively to sudden movements. Some workers had been harmed in their attempts to care for them, yet Damian persisted. He would call out to the gorillas, spending time with them, playing and forming a connection that went beyond the boundaries of fear. And soon the relationship between Damian and the gorillas blossomed into a deep bond. His gentle approach, coupled with an unwavering commitment to their well-being, created a bridge of trust between species. Tansy Aspinall, born into a world where her father held an unwavering belief in the goodness of gorillas, soon found herself immersed in a unique childhood. Even as a toddler taking her first steps, Damian defied the fears of those around him and allowed Tansy to play with the gorillas at Howletts Wild Animal Park. Contrary to the concerns that she might be harmed, Damian saw an opportunity for his daughter to form a connection with these magnificent creatures. As Tansy grew, so did her interactions with the gorillas. At just 18 months old, she was still too young and vulnerable to be perceived as a threat by the animals, and the gorillas understood the innocence in her movements. Soon a bond formed between them, transcending the boundaries between human and gorilla. Tansy's fondness extended to all the gorillas, but it was with two particular ones, Jalta and Bims, that she shared a connection deeper than anyone could have anticipated. Tansy couldn't help but reminisce about those early years, the time she spent playing with Jalta and Bims. The environment echoed with the sounds of her joyful giggles as they ran together, forging a friendship that defied the norms of the animal kingdom. It became a routine, the little girl and the gorillas sharing moments of love and affection as if they were indeed a family. Young as she was, Tansy saw no difference between herself and her gorilla friends. The realization that they were not human like her didn't occur to her until she reached a certain age. In her innocent perspective, these gorillas were her playmates, her companions, and the love between them knew no boundaries. The revelation came gradually, but it only served to strengthen the unique connection they shared. Tansy, now fully aware of their differences, embraced the fact that her closest friends were a part of the animal kingdom. Meanwhile, Damian, ever the devoted father and animal conservationist, documented these extraordinary moments at the Aspinall Foundation. He captured on camera the playful interactions between Tansy, Jolta, and Bims, immortalizing their shared joy. The footage served not only as a personal memento, but also as a proof of the incredible bond that could exist between humans and animals when approached with understanding and love. But then the moment arrived when Damian Aspinall, torn between the emotional bonds formed and the welfare of the gorillas, knew it was time to release them back into the wild. The Howletts Wild Animal Park, once a sanctuary for these creatures, had served its purpose in rehabilitating them to a state where they could thrive in their natural habitat. Tansy, now a grown girl of about 12 years old, stood on the precipice of an inevitable farewell, her heart heavy with the looming separation. Unable to fathom the idea of never seeing Jolta and Bims again, she tried to convince her father to postpone the release. With tears welling in her eyes, she pleaded, "Dad, can't we keep them a little longer? I can't bear the thought of saying goodbye." Damian, understanding the depth of Tansy's connection with the gorillas, knelt down and explained, "I feel the same, sweetheart, but it's for the best. They need to be in the wild where they belong, to live freely and thrive on their own." As the day of release approached, tension and sadness hung in the air. Damian, aware of the difficulty that lay ahead, had constructed a wooden bridge over a stream, symbolizing the transition from captivity to the vast wilderness. On that memorable day, Jolta and Bims, sensing the impending departure, gathered around Tansy. They hugged and cuddled near her, chanting playfully in their own way. Tansy, overcome with emotion, felt tears streaming down her face as she prepared to bid farewell to her dear friends, knowing she might never see them again. With the wooden bridge serving as the gateway to freedom, Damian had to use food as a lure to guide the gorillas across. Tansy, standing on one side, watched as the gorillas hesitated, torn between their affection for her and the beckoning call of the wild. Slowly, enticed by the food, they ventured onto the bridge. Damian, on the other end, encouraged them forward, aware that this was a necessary step for their well-being. As the gorillas crossed over to the other side, Damian swiftly executed a difficult decision. He collapsed to the bridge. The sound echoed through the jungle as the structure disintegrated. It was a moment of both symbolism and necessity. The bridge represented the connection between two worlds, and its collapse signified the irrevocable separation between the familiar confines of the animal park and the untamed wilderness beyond. The reason for dismantling the bridge was clear. The gorillas, having spent their formative years in the enclosure of Howletts Wild Animal Park, might be tempted to return to the only place they knew was home. By removing the bridge, Damian ensured that Jolta, Bims, and the others had no choice but to delve deeper into the jungle to establish their own territory. It was a difficult choice, but one made out of love and consideration for the well-being of these creatures. As the last remnants of the bridge disappeared into the stream, Tansy stood in silence, her heart heavy with a mixture of grief and hope. Damian too felt the weight of the moment, knowing he had made the right decision for the gorilla's future. Life became a bit dull for Tansy without her favorite gorillas, but with time she adjusted and grew into a beautiful woman. At the age of 24, after completing her degree in animal conservation from a prestigious university, she returned to her father's Aspinall Foundation and the Howletts Wild Animal Park. Her passion for ensuring the continuity and rehabilitation of animals without a home or endangered had led her back to where it all began. Reflecting on her journey, Tansy realized that her path was intricately woven with the bond she had formed with Jolta and Bims, and her father's dedication to rehabilitating animals. The love she felt for these creatures fueled her commitment to their well-being. It dawned on her that the foundation of her life's purpose had been laid by the unique connection she had with the gorillas she considered family. After 12 years since she last saw Jolta and Bims, Tansy couldn't shake the worry about how they were faring in the wild. The idea of going into the jungle to check on them and assess the success of their rehabilitation took root in her mind. Deep down, she missed them dearly and wondered if they would recognize her after all these years. Approaching her father with the idea, his eyes lit up with excitement at the prospect of adventure. They decided to embark on a journey to see if the bond they'd once shared with the gorillas still endured. And now that they were looking at them, they couldn't understand if the warning sounds they were making were about to escalate to threats and attacks. Damian looked back to Tansy. She thought he would be scared, but he was watching her with a knowing smile on his lips. He knew this was her time to shine, to remind the gorillas who she was and who she had been to them. So she gathered her courage and called out their names. Tansy immediately saw a familiar shift in their demeanor. Jalta and Bims halted for a second, looked at her in disbelief, and then rushed towards her, embracing her and chanting playfully, displaying their lasting affection. They remembered her. With treats in hand, Tansy relished the moments Jalta and Bims let her hold them. The gorillas, remembering the bond forged at the animal park, reached for the treats playfully. Damian and Tansy reveled in the experience, familiarizing themselves once again with the creatures that had once been rehabilitated in their animal park. The gorillas' recognition made the reunion even more special, affirming the enduring connection between humans and these magnificent creatures. In no time, Jalta and Bims introduced Tansy to their young offspring. The bond extended to the next generation as the young gorillas embraced the humans, forming a new connection with Tansy and Damian. Days were spent together, familiarizing and keeping each other company. The discovery that the gorillas were faring well emphasized the effectiveness of the skills imparted by Damian and the staff at the animal park. The day for Tansy and Damian to leave finally arrived, and bidding farewell again was not easy. Damian captured the shared moments on his camera, pictures and videos immortalizing their time with the gorillas. Yet the most memorable scene was when the young gorilla children held onto their feet, expressing a wish for them to stay and play every day. It was a bittersweet moment, but Tansy had to leave, satisfied that Jalta and Bims hadn't forgotten her. The bond persisted, and the gorillas were thriving, having even managed to expand their family. The gorillas accompanied them to the edge of the stream. Tansy smiled as she watched her animal friends Jalta and Bims and their children, amongst other gorillas, bidding them farewell in their own way. Back at the animal center, Tansy and Damian shared the captured memories on the internet. The images and videos ignited the online world, with people marveling at the enduring bond between the gorillas and their human friends. The heartwarming scenes changed perspectives on these animals, showcasing the strength of connections that would stand the test of time. The internet buzzed with admiration for the gorillas and their human companions. Tansy and Damian's story spread far and wide, inspiring people to reconsider their views on wildlife. The bond between the gorillas and the humans, even after 12 years apart, touched the hearts of many, fostering a greater appreciation for the complexities of animal emotions and relationships. As the images and videos circulated, the story of Jalta and Bims, the gorillas who once found a second chance at Howletts Wild Animal Park, resonated globally. In the quiet moments back at the animal center, Tansy reflected on the profound impact that her childhood connection with Jalta and Bims had on her life. The journey had come full circle, from playful interactions in the confines of the animal park to a reunion in the heart of the wild. Little did she know that her journey with the gorillas wasn't destined to end. Fate had another chapter in store for them, one that would draw them into a crucial role of safeguarding the gorillas from a new threat. Months later, as they continued monitoring the other animals at the animal park, Tansy and Damian's attention was abruptly diverted to a distressing discovery. The area surrounding the gorillas had become a hotspot for poaching activities. The majestic creatures were being hunted for their perceived value in meat, destined for the illegal bushmeat trade on the black market. The realization of the threat they faced sent shockwaves through Tansy and Damian. Unable to stand idly by, especially after the strong bond they had formed with the gorillas, Tansy and her father sprang into action. The Aspinall Foundation, now a popular animal park, utilized its platform to raise awareness about the imminent danger the gorillas were facing. With the recent viral and trending videos of the gorillas reuniting with Tansy and Damian, they leveraged their online presence to shine a spotlight on the poaching activities threatening the gorillas' lives. The response was swift, not only from concerned individuals worldwide, but also from the government. The Aspinall Foundation's advocacy reached the ears of those in power, prompting immediate action. Within a few weeks, news reached Damian that the poachers responsible for the illegal activities had been apprehended, and their operations were brought to a standstill. The relief was soothing for Damian and Tansy. The intervention not only warmed their hearts, but also showcased the power of raising awareness and standing against illegal activities that put wildlife at risk. Tansy and Damian, through their commitment and the reach of the Aspinall Foundation, had played a pivotal role in ensuring the well-being and safety of the gorillas. Once again, they had proved that they were more than just caretakers of an animal park. Their dedication and genuine concern for the animals went beyond the confines of their center. The connection they shared with the gorillas and their commitment to their welfare had a far-reaching impact, demonstrating the profound influence individuals and organizations can have in preserving and protecting endangered species. As the news of the poacher's apprehension spread, the Aspinall Foundation continued to use its platform to advocate for stricter measures against poaching and the illegal wildlife trade. Tansy, fueled by her childhood connection with Jolta and Bims, became a prominent voice in the fight against such activities, inspiring others to join the cause. What a beautiful story! How did you expect the gorillas to react after 12 years? Would you ever let an 18-month-old baby play with big animals if you deemed them safe? Tell us in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.